All right, new data to look at as we might be looking at what could be Dexter here, moving off the coast of Florida into the northern Gulf. And here's the key. If this system can stay just off the coast, there could be some development here, at least into the tropical depression mode, maybe developing into a tropical storm. This is the European AI. It was pretty aggressive today, trying to develop this thing into a pretty decent looking storm as it approaches Louisiana or maybe even Mississippi. So I think you watch this storm here along the northern Gulf Coast states. All right, so pay attention to the weather over the next couple of days. This is the operational European that came out this evening. It also has those cluster of showers and storms staying just off the coast. That right there could lead to that development. It's brought a lot of heavy rain today to Florida. There was some flooding in and around Jacksonville and across North Florida. Regardless of where this system goes, regardless of how strong it gets, you've got to be, you've got to pay attention to the possibility of some really heavy rain as this moves ashore and as this moisture sticks around as we head toward Friday into Saturday and then maybe into next week. So that is something to keep an eye on as well. This is the spaghetti plots, everything kind of bringing it north. This is I do believe this is the Canadian, but you get the idea of where this storm is probably going to be going. This is the GFS guidance going back a little bit, but still bringing this thing close to the Louisiana, Mississippi region as we head toward as soon as Wednesday or Thursday. National Hurricane Center now bumped this region up too. Now, a 40% chance of that development as we saw the 8 p.m. Eastern advisory come out. So a better chance of seeing this along the Gulf Coast states. And we're already seeing the heavy rain today in Florida. Another problem as we head into tomorrow will be the excessive rain. Another wet and soggy day across the mid-Atlantic. Big storms across the northern plains into the upper Midwest. And unfortunately, another chance of some heavy rain across Texas. And look at this, even into the southwest. We're picking up that moisture across Arizona with more storms popping across this region. Tomorrow, severe weather. The big threat, I think, will be across the UP of Michigan, parts of Minnesota, into Wisconsin. Also, you've got to watch these storms back in here, especially across South Dakota, dropping into Nebraska, heading into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. Damaging winds, hail, maybe even a few tornadoes. Not a big tornado day, but some of these could pulse up and produce a few twisters. The Storm Prediction Center now also highlighting parts of Minnesota into Wisconsin, and also a sliver of the UP of Michigan up into this region. Not again, off-the-chain threat that's just crazy, but it's there. And now we're looking at Wednesday. That front sags a little bit to the south. And then I think after that, what happens here across the Gulf Coast? Do we have some sort of landfalling tropical system that creates maybe a few tornadoes? Something to watch. Those landfalling tropical systems are notorious for causing that. All right, let's look at the storms. We'll zoom in a little bit closer as we examine some of the how I think these are going to evolve as we head into Tuesday rather. Tonight, a few showers and storms across Nebraska, but the big show is going to be on Tuesday. Look at these storms being modeled out on the 3K NAM. Really impressive along the South Dakota, North Dakota border. And some of these, you start getting something like this, you get Boeing segments within this complex of storms, and that could lead to damaging winds and some big hail. And embedded in this could be some tornadoes too, especially on the bookend of these. You get these bookend spin-ups. And within this, I remember several years ago talking with some other meteorologists talking about how you watch for these notches within this for those weak spin-up tornadoes. Something to keep an eye on. And then that moves east now as we head into early Wednesday morning. The time above my head is Eastern time, so take an hour off for Central. And then this all pushes off to the east. A little bit further to the north, we do have a few storms moving through parts of northern Minnesota. This complex could bring some thunder tonight. It's not even the big storms that we're going to see heading into Tuesday. Now, although we could have a 1-2 punch. There's the first one. And then if we can get the air mass to recover, which I think there's going to be some question, right? So you get this, I'm going to back it up. You get this first round moving through in the morning across Minnesota into Wisconsin. And now, do you have enough time to recover? I don't know that you do the further north you go, but as this drops south, again, the UP, I think up near Minneapolis, St. Paul, this region right in here probably is going to get a little more primed, so to speak, into the afternoon and evening. So probably some stronger storms here. And then this begins the weekend as it drops south into Iowa overnight. Here's a bit of a wider look. I know we've zoomed in on the big storms. I want to show you what we're looking at in other areas too. relatively quiet, I mean, into this region, at least for now. The big storms, and we're talking about from Oklahoma up into Missouri, also Iowa. Those storms that we're watching for tomorrow across Nebraska, further north into Minnesota and Wisconsin, push east across Nebraska into Iowa. Everything kind of converging across Iowa. And you can see this little spin, this little vorticity, this energy moving through. That will be the instigator, I think, as we head into Wednesday afternoon. So on the south and east side of this, boom, there you go. The what are we looking at? The 3K-NAM definitely picking up on the idea that we could see some pretty good storms heading into Wednesday afternoon with this piece of spinning energy, I should say, moving through the atmosphere. And then as we move into, of course, Wednesday night and Thursday, those calm down. Look at the rain being depicted across Kansas. There could be more heavy rain falling back here heading into Thursday. Starting off, my gracious, waking up to low temperatures around Houston, barely getting below 80. Humid, soggy, and kind of gross with dew points pretty high. Lows barely getting to 70 across a lot of the Central Plains, even up into parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, dew points high. And that means our lows will barely drop into the lower 70s at night. Ugh. All right, let's move east now. We've talked about the Central Plains overnight tonight. Any showers and storms starting to die down. The showers continue across Florida and southern Georgia. It's going to be heavy at times, especially here from Albany all the way out to Tallahassee, Destin, Florida, Panama City, over towards Dothan, Alabama. Some heavy rain in this part of the country. We'll also see more storms fire up across the Ohio Valley, southern Indiana, southern Illinois heading into tomorrow afternoon. This would be Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So these storms back here, not nearly as strong as what we're seeing way to the north and west. And there could even be a few heavy downpours across Virginia, North Carolina too. We've just seen storm after storm into the afternoons across this part of the country. And I think we're going to see more of that over the next couple of days. Now, this spinning piece of energy that's moving it just off of the coast of Florida into the northern Gulf. Again, watch out. This is the 3K-NAM. It's picking up on the idea that this piece of energy stays just off the coast. That's going to be the problem. That's what might give you Dexter. Are we seeing Dexter come into creation here? I don't know. But again, the National Hurricane Center watching this region. So if you're just joining the live video, you can take it back from the beginning. We talked more about that toward the beginning of this. But further to the north, away from the tropics, look at all this precipitation moving east. So the rain is going to start to pick up again across the Great Lakes and into the northeast. Not nearly as strong, though, as what we've seen lately. High temperatures. If you can get away from the clouds, you're going to be warm again, well into the 90s across the deep south. Further to the west, some big flooding across parts of New Mexico today. Tomorrow, we expand the coverage of showers and storms. And within any of these, I think you have the possibility of seeing some really heavy downpours. The monsoon starts to pick up a little bit, and then more coverage heading into Wednesday afternoon, and maybe even into Thursday. And I don't know how far west this gets. You always have a hard time pushing that monsoon moisture very far to the north and west. But either way, a chance of some showers, and it tries to depict that moisture moving north into the Rockies. Maybe more rain across parts of Montana as we head toward at least Sunday and Monday of next week. And high temperatures here. Look at this. Heading into tomorrow afternoon, cool across the mountains of Montana. Highs in the 40s and 30s into the highest elevations, while we bake across the Great Basin. A little bit cooler across the Pacific Northwest into Washington and in Oregon, but that changes as we head into Wednesday. Highs jump back up into the 90s. And the lower elevations here into eastern Oregon, also western Oregon too, and temperatures across the Central Valley. Just maybe a little bit cooler. We're not looking at triple-digit heat, but staying hot across the far southwest. So that's what we're looking at. A quick update there on what could be Dexter. I'll be watching it. So if you're new, a lot of you are on the channel and aren't subscribers. So about half of the folks that watch these videos don't subscribe. So please come on back, subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps me out. And I hope you enjoy it. Hope it helps you as well. We'll catch you next time, guys. Have a great one.